Name is Abdulrazak Mustafa, and I'm honored to serve as your moderator for today's session. So, we gather today at a time of significant energy challenges in Nigeria and Africa. As we all know, our nation power sector has long been characterized by unreliable supply, frequent grid collapses, and over reliance on fossil fuels, as we all know. And this has significantly affected our economy. So today, we all know that going by the population of people in Africa that are without electricity, we are about 600 million that are lacking electricity, which we all know this has impacted in a lot of sectors like the education sector, healthcare, and our industries. So in recent months, we have repeated system collapse, we all know, and this has brought a lot of crisis. And today we are here to answer questions. And the question before us is clear today, which is how do we break free from this cycle of inefficiency and unreliability? So today, nuclear energy, with its proven track record of reliability, scalability, and sustainability, it offers a compelling solution to these challenges. So today we are privileged to have with us Dr. Abubakar Ibrahim, which we all, I think, most of us know him. He plays a vital role in the Nigerian power sector. Uh, so, as we all know, he's a renowned energy expert. He's a founder of Empower Consult Africa and and a passionate advocate for sustainable energy solutions. So Dr. Ibrahim will provide us with insight into how nuclear power can serve as a game changer in Nigerian quest for energy security and sustainable development. So before we begin, uh, I think we should all please mute our mics so that we wouldn't have any interruption whatsoever. So after the presentation by Dr. Ibrahim, we'll have a Q&A session. I know we all have questions to ask Dr. Ibrahim regarding this nuclear energy and how ready we are as a country to uh, embrace this nuclear energy. So without further ado, please let me hand you over to Dr. Ibrahim so he can uh, dissect all he has for us today. Thank you very much. Please, Dr. Ibrahim, go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Mustafa, for that and wonderful introduction. Hello, listeners. Good evening and welcome to this special edition of the Roadmap to Nuclear Power in Nigeria. Let's see how we can use, a nuclear power to address the challenges we have, in terms of, deficit of energy. As you all know, for a very long period of time, Nigeria has been struggling with power issues. Just for this year, we have 12 grid collapses, apart from the partial collapse and other issues that has to do with transmission and also your local distribution, companies. So we have 12 national grid collapse. And what this means is that we have an average of a collapse per month. I just saw a chart by, The Guardian, which clearly shows the months, the dates that we usually have this collapse. Now, for a nation like Nigeria with abundant, mineral resources in terms of, both renewable energy and other things, including the, resources we need to power our generation with, the nuclear. Being in this situation is very, very heartbreaking. So once again, welcome to the webinar. As I have said, my name is Dr. Abubakar Ibrahim. I'm the founder of Empower Consult Africa and the convener of the Empower webinar, a webinar where we discuss issues that relate to electricity in Nigeria and the world globally. So please do me a favor. You can just, as a way of introduction, just type your name in the chat box and let's get started. Thank you. So I think we have done a whole lot of introduction, and basically, as I said earlier, this is a webinar that has to be very interactive. We want to get to hear from you also. The aim of this webinar is to see how we can, come together to provide solutions to the issues of energy, can I say, lack of sufficient energy or energy deficit that we have in our nation. So please feel free. You can, we are going to make this very interactive. So just feel free, get ready, and let's discuss this. Thank you. So why nuclear energy matters for Nigeria? As we said earlier, there are figures after figures, there are details after data that clearly shows the lack of access to reliable electricity in the country. And according to the World Bank reports, 2023, it shows that over 85 million Nigerians do not have access to reliable electricity. And when I say reliable electricity, it means they do not, actually you might have electricity a day today, tomorrow you don't have, or maybe probably you are on a transformer that has to be on load shedding. And, if you look presently with the issues that we have that has to do with, the national grid collapse, you're not sure of getting electricity in the next 1 or 2 hours. So this is a major problem. And, this is why I think Nigeria starts to look forward to nuclear energy. Excuse me. So this is the reason. And also, if you look at so many indices, that shows that, we really need to start thinking, other ways of generating electricity. We need to diversify. We need to, we need to get, off-grid and embedded energy all across our states, across our areas, and, so that we can just go ahead and do. So the energy deficit has profound impact on our economy, limiting industrial growth and also impeding social development, just as Abdulrazak has said earlier in his introduction. So with reasons like this, Nigeria has no any other alternative than to go back to the drawing board and look at other alternative source of energy, such as the renewable, and arguably, and most reliably, the nuclear energy, which is a proven solution, for countries like
Sorry, doctor.
France.
Slide is not moving. Sorry, doctor.
Yep.
The slide is not moving. The slides are not moving.
Yes, I'm still. Is it still in one place? Do you
Yes.
see why energy? Why nuclear energy? Or is
No,
just
no. We are still on the. It's still showing us the first page.
Can anybody confirm maybe your network? Because from here it's moving. Please, can any of say, can you see?
Yeah, it's still the first page here too.
Oh, it's still the first page. So I think but it's moving.
Yeah, Doc, you don't have it. We don't have it on presentation mode yet.
Oh, really? Let me
From
do
here,
this.
yes.
Okay, let me do this. Let me stop sharing and sorry, just a minute. Let me go back to this. So why am I having this? It's right here. Oh.
Oh, it's okay if you want me to run the presentation from this end.
Yes, please, if you can, I think it will be better, right?
Oh,
I'm having issues here. Okay, please. Apologies for the mix-up, please. Yes, Yunusa, you raise your hand. You have anything to say?
I think it should work now. It's on presentation mode now.
Still, from here, it's still loading. Okay, yes, it's okay here. Thank you. Thank you. All right, yes, next slide, please. All right, yes, this is where we are. All right, so nuclear energy it's proven to be the solution, and it offers a long-term source of power. And this has happened in so many countries. For a country like France, over 70% of their energy is being generated through the nuclear energy. And for South Africa, over 10% of its energy is through the nuclear energy. So it has proven to be a source of reliable energy across the world. And most nations these days are turning back to nuclear energy to ensure that they have a reliable and also accessible energy that people can rely on, so that they can power their economy, and also enhance industrial growth and social development in their communities. So can I have the next slide, please? So what do we aim to achieve today? We've said this earlier on. We want to understand the scale and impact of energy deficit in Nigeria. As we said earlier, for just this year, we have over 12 grid collapses, and over 68 transmission towers have been vandalized, within just this period of time. And it will interest you to know that to fix one tower costs you an average of 110 million naira. So this is a serious economic issue. And once, for those of us who are in the north, some of us have stayed for over 10 days and so many hours, without electricity. So we want to look at this, in this webinar. And I also want to learn about the potential of nuclear power, how we can use nuclear power to bridge, the gap we have in terms of energy generation and also energy distribution across our country. And, we can also export same energy to other neighboring countries like Niger, Benin Republic, and other countries that, need electricity from us. And then the next one, we also want to, explore the global best practices and identify lessons. Those countries like South Africa, like France, like Germany, like the US, what have they done? How are they doing? And what exactly, do we need to do to see that, we have an opportunity to, get into this nuclear arena where we can, generate and also distribute electricity through nuclear power. We have these resources across our areas, across our country as well. And then finally, we'll discuss the challenges, and also we'll look at those solutions that we can provide, that will make it very easy, for us to, to have a nuclear energy in Nigeria. So I said it's going to be interactive. So if you just feel free to drop your comments, and as the conversation starts, you can just tell us, give us an idea. How do you think we can, start, generating electricity through nuclear power? And I will go through your comments, much later in the presentation. Thank you. So today's roadmap. The current Nigerian energy sector, as I said earlier, I think this has been our background. This has been the basis, is that we have a lot of issues that has to do with our generation. We generate, barely electricity that will, get across to all of us. As we said earlier, over 85 million of Nigerians do not have access to electricity. And this is a serious issue. Our industries, our companies, could not produce, and people cannot get employed just because they don't have electricity. And then if you look at this also, hospitals are also in this arena, our schools. There is an industry in Sharata during those periods, Sharata in Kano State, northwest Nigeria, where we have an issue of electricity during those 10 days that we do not have electricity. The industry closed and tell all the workers to go back home until electricity is restored before they come back to work. So you can see an issue like this is a serious issue. Only God knows how many people depend on those guys working in that particular place. Until we find solution to this electricity deficit in Nigeria, then we'll continue having a problem. So we're going to also have, also going to look at some of the basic things that we have to do to, get to get started with nuclear energy, and then also what are the role, what are the opportunities and benefits, if we have this nuclear energy. So let's just have the next slide, please. Yes, please. Okay, this section is looking at the current state of Nigeria's energy sector, and basically we're going to understand those issues that we have. Now, as I said earlier, we have 85 million Nigerians who do not have access to electricity. Now, only 60% of Nigerians have access to grid. Now, when we say grid, this is electricity that comes from various electricity distribution companies. This excludes other sources of renewable energy, such as the solar, or the generator where you powered, or the windmills done by either your state or your community. So this is the problem now. Just 60% have access to the national grid, and over 40% of Nigeria. Isn't this a problem? This is a serious problem. And this is where the whole problem started, and we need to find solution. Now, this is just for the people. I'm just looking at the household, looking at the companies, the industries, our hospitals, our schools, our homes. You understand? The small and medium businesses that we have. If they don't have electricity, then so much is at stake. According to a report by PwC in 2023, it estimates that 29 billion US dollars is lost, annually due to inadequate electricity. I didn't say naira, $billion. So you can imagine what this means, right? So we need to sit back. Our government needs to be very strategic. Other stakeholders, we need to get people, to buy in, and then we need to start coming up with a reliable source of electricity, and which, just as France or other emerging economy like South Africa, we need to start thinking this way. For now, even the renewable energy, I don't think, even the renewable energy, yes, I don't think we have done something much on that. I don't think so, because according to the NERC, regulation, is that each disco has to provide 10% of its energy. It has to source 10% of its energy through renewable energy. So, and then 5% of it will be through renewable energy and other embedded way, energy. So these are some of the issues that we are facing until we now look at other alternative sources of energy. Because number one, if you look at our transmission networks, they are weak, they are dilapidated. Since if you look at the distribution companies, your transformers in your area, distribution transformers, some of us are still on load shedding. Load shedding means today you'll be given electricity, tomorrow you'll not have electricity. So these are some of the issues we have. And then if you look at this, when people do not have adequate electricity, what happens? Then they will have to turn to other source. They use generator, they use, some organizations now generate electricity like Dangote, they generate electricity for their companies and so on. But if we can come as a country and come up with a nuclear source of energy that will give us an adequate and reliable energy, I don't think we'll have a problem, right? So let's have your comment, please. Let's hear what is your suggestion on this. Okay, yes, next, please. Thank you. Next. So let's look at our source of energy. If you look at it, the dominance is mostly on fossil fuel, right? Nigerian energy is reliant on natural gas and oil, 80% of our generation. And when you have this, it is being influenced heavily by the price of crude oil and other source of energy in the world. And for those of us who don't know, for every kilowatt of electricity, there are so many indices that are involved. One is the price of dollar. What is the exchange rate of dollar to naira? How much is a dollar? Two, what is the price of gas in the world? How much is it being sold? Three, there is also cost of transportation. So there are so many indices that affect the generation of electricity and sales of electricity. Every kilowatt hour you buy, there are so many things that are involved, so many external factors. But then if you generate through nuclear energy, will you need to look at all those things? No. So these are some of the issues. So dependence on this, makes supply, unreliable. And then you have the volatility, volatility or of prices. The price keep going up and down. Just for those of us who are on band A, you know what that means. Today you buy at 209, tomorrow you buy at 220 or 230 and so on, and that is how it keep going. So these are the issues that we have, and then it has environmental challenges. There are so many challenges here that you cannot, in terms of climate change, in terms of global warming. These are some of the issues that we have. So we really need to look at other sources of energy, just as the renewable energy I've said, solar, windmills, and so on. And also now we have to look at the nuclear and see all those nations like France and South Africa and the United States of America. What are they doing? How are they getting it right? What are we not doing? What do we need to start to do so that we get there? So this is what we want to achieve here. So let's have the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, I think that's gone.
There's a technical issue.
Yes, technical
hitch. Yeah.
Yes, let me check the comment box so that I can get one or two things. Okay, we have Aisha from Yola. We have Olusoji. Let's take some of your comments before we continue. I believe they are fixing that. Okay, Olusoji, nice to have you here. Hi, Aisha. Okay. We also have Yunusa Abdullahi from Kano. Very glad. Hello, Yunusa. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hawa Isama, and I'm HR manager from electricity industry. Thank you, Haja Hawa, for joining. We have Mustafa. Okay. Hello, Mustafa Bala. Nice meeting you also. So you can keep the comments. You can keep, the conversation coming so that we can go on. Yes, is there anybody sharing, or do I need to see if I can share from here?
Yeah, Mr. Insiabasi is fixing it. Just while he fixes it, let's check the comment section and have a little interactive session before then. So please, Doctor, go ahead.
All right. Yes. I think. Oh, fantastic! It's coming. Okay. Can you please make it a bit bolder, Mr. Anse? Thank you so much. I think we have, okay, is this where we are? Okay, this is the next one. Okay, can you make it, yes, presentation mode, please. Can you get to
Hi. So apologies for the technical issues. I have put it on presentation mode. Confirm you can see that.
Yes, I can see. Can you just make it in full screen if that can be done? If not, we can just go on.
It's not on presentation mode. Mr. Can you just do that again, please?
All right, just a sec.
All right, thank you. So feel free to tell us, what are the major challenges you feel we have, in the electricity industry in Nigeria while we wait for Mr. Anse. If anyone has comments, please feel free.
Yeah, it has come up. Can you, Doctor, proceed, please?
Yes. Yes, it has. Oh, he's gone back. Okay, fantastic. We're there, Mr. Anse. Thank you. All right, so now let's look at some of the major issues we have. Infrastructure deficits and aging, infrastructure. Now, basically, you agree with me, as I said earlier. For those of us who have been in the north, especially, I want to use this opportunity, northern Nigeria, that's what I said. Not just the infrastructure, also the issues of vandalism, is one of the major issues that is really, affecting the power sector in Nigeria. Our infrastructure, when we say of infrastructure, we mean our transmission lines are, some of the aluminum conductors are weak. You have 33 kV lines, where you also see that you have wooden poles, tiltel pole. Tiltel pole are poles that are almost falling off, right? Where you have cross arms that are broken. Cross arms are those, can I say, channel iron on the pole that held the wires you see across there. So many of this infrastructure. Then if you go back to the transmitter and the transformers there, some of the transformers are as old as Nigeria or even older than Nigeria. So how do you expect to get, reliable electricity from this? So that is the problem. And if you look at the capacity of those lines and also those transformers, you see that they cannot properly or reliably, transmit or supply the adequate electricity you want, because they were designed during those period that they are for certain, it is for certain load. It cannot carry, maybe probably they are designed to just transmit 4,000 megawatts and you generate 12,000 megawatts. So how do you do that? It's just like a car which is designed to carry just 5 passengers, and then you have 10 passengers because of overpopulation and other things. How will that happen? That will actually be very difficult for that car, no matter how you try. If you say you want to carry 10 people, you know what happened? It will collapse. Am I making a picture out of this? And you can see where the problem is. So one, the problem is our power or our grid infrastructure are outdated. We need to start thinking of using SCADA, the SCADA system that can detect if there is fault on the line. It can detect and then tell you, okay, this is where the fault is. You don't need to spend 10 of the days and weeks trying to look for faults. So we need modern equipment, right? So these are some of the issues that we have. Because of this, in most times you have a lot of technical losses. Because before the electricity gets to the customers, already you have lost a whole lot of them. You have weak aluminum conductors, you have broken cross arms, you have transformers that cannot, carry the loads, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the issues that we have. Now, if you also look at some of the major issues that we have, in the transmission, you have a lot of things going on. Just recently, we saw a report by EFCC saying that some of the issues we are having in transmission company of Nigeria are right from the transmission itself. There are some bottlenecks. There are some, can somebody help me with a better word? There are some, what do you call this? People there, a group of people that's just sabotage all those things, and so that they can get something out of it. The report is out there by EFCC. So there are a lot of things that are wrong in Nigeria, especially the Nigerian Electricity Company. And these are some of the things that you have on this slide, right? So I think we really have a lot to do. If you have any comment on this, just feel free to drop it, and then we can take it and also discuss after the presentation. Yes, next slide, please. So let's also look at, the effects or the impacts of inadequate electricity to our socioeconomic being. What are those issues that we have? What are those things? How do they affect us? How do they affect our livelihood? How do they affect our healthcare system, our education, and quality of life entirely? Now, if you do not have adequate electricity or reliable electricity, what happens? Investors will be scared away. A lot of people do not feel that Nigeria is the best place to come and invest. Why? Because if you don't have reliable electricity, what happens? How do you power? Do you know how much it takes to generate electricity? So this is the issue. This is the problem. So once we do not have adequate electricity, then we will not have that foreign investment. And when you create foreign investment, when people from other countries come to invest in your country, what that means is a lot of people are going to be employed. A lot of people are going to be will get work, will start working, and then they'll feed their family better, and then the rate of unemployment will reduce, the rate of crime will now reduce, and people will live a very good life because they have, a means of livelihood. That's what it means. But if there is no electricity, and then people feel like, why do I need to come to Nigeria to invest when I can go to Ghana and have reliable electricity? Now, this is why the Nigerian government and other stakeholders need to come together and look at it and look at other alternative source of energy apart from what we have now. I must also commend the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission for putting out the 10%, right? So this is it. 10% of your energy must come from renewable energy. And this is fantastic. And I believe most of the distribution companies are already working on this, because if you go, you see that we have the RESCO, renewable electricity distribution companies. Some of them have started working. A lot of them are investing, and they have already started setting up solar farms and windmills. Some of the discos have gone across. So that is it. And this also have issues to some of the small businesses, just as I said earlier. And also to add to this, when you don't have when you have unreliable electricity, what happens? It has a great impact on your healthcare. Some people have to live on oxygen. We have so many so many medicines that you need to keep them under some certain temperature. And this can only be achieved when you have reliable electricity. So these are some of the impacts. And this is why Nigeria needs to look at other sources of electricity so that we can have this, and then we'll be free from the constant collapse of the grid. Right? So this is the issue, and this is the impact. And I believe you agree with me that it is high time we look at nuclear source of energy. It is, I believe, is one of the best way to get sustainable and also reliable electricity in the country. Next slide, please. So, what are the basics of nuclear energy? Let's see what we have here. Thank you. Okay, I think before we get to this nuclear energy, I want to take one or two comments. Let's make it interactive so that it doesn't sound so monotonous, just me talking. For the other webinars I've been doing, it's been very interactive. If you have anything to say, just please, you can use the chat box, or you can just raise your hand, and then we give you an opportunity to say one or two things, and then we continue. I think we're on good time, right? So let me take this from Yunusa, and if you want to speak via the mic, you can just raise your hand, and then we'll give you a mic and go on. Yunusa Abdullahi said, Dr. Abakar, well done for a great initiative. Well, from the northern part of Nigeria, we are blessed with adequate sunlight to generate power. I think the challenge from my own perspective is utilizing the sunlight to generate in mass production for greater consumption is a serious challenge. So if government or expert from the energy sector can go to countries to have countries that have successfully utilized solar energy for mass production to learn and utilize it in Nigeria. Yes, I also buy this idea. This is true. Nigeria needs to use, especially in the north, we have sun, we have wind, and we also have hydro. Just recently, I read Kano Electricity is collaborating with the government to invest $100 million to generate 100 megawatts that will be distributed across its franchise area. And this includes the solar and also the Tiga Dam. The Tiga Dam is one of the dams in Kano. So we commend, initiatives like this by government, collaboration with governments, collaboration with individuals who are, stakeholders in the electricity industry to, get off grid and start bringing other initiatives that will help the country to get reliable energy. Olusoji Ayodokun said many small-scale businesses closed down because of inadequate power supply. This is so true, Adisoji. So, but what do you think we should do? Do you have a solution to this? So Mohammed Tijani is replying to Abdullahi. He said, for a country like Nigeria, efficient energy generation is required on a larger scale rather than solar. Yes, even if you generate electricity now, part of the issues that we have is that we have dilapidated infrastructure, distribution infrastructure and so on. So how do you even distribute this electricity? So these are some of the issues that we have. So does anyone has a comment? I can take one or two comments and then we get to understand what nuclear energy is so that we can also go to the last part of this and then have other part of conversation. Yes. What are the challenges and how do you think we can, surmount these challenges, we can resolve these issues that we have? Okay. Tijani Mohammed, he has raised a hand. Okay, Tijani, please, you can unmute and let's have your say very quickly.
Hello and good evening, everyone.
Hello,
so
Tijani.
Regarding the problem with transmission, yeah, we all know that we have a poor transmission network in the country. However, distribution is a little bit better and it can be managed. So decentralizing the entire generation system rather than taking bulk power from these gencos and then transmitting all the way into the consumption areas, I think it is better to be generating at each substation. So if you have a small generation station beside a substation, you have already taken out major of the transmission leakages that we're having. You have removed most of the cabals that you were talking about earlier that are coming from the generation station and from the transmission stations as well. So it's not just about generating power, but no, we are looking at cost-effective and efficient generation. I think that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you very much. What you said is right. Actually, generation is not just the issue. Also, when you generate, how do you distribute? So this is where the issue comes. That's why first we need to invest in our transmission lines, right? Okay, Abdrazak is raising his hand. Let me just take this before I give you the mic. First, we need to invest in our transmission lines, our distribution network. We need to identify those places where our flashpoints. We need to identify places where we have weak aluminum conductors. We need to identify places that are, we have some of the major losses, and we need to do a whole lot of assessment on this. So these are some of the issues, or these are some of the things that we need to do. And just as I said earlier, already we have started. There has been decentralization now, with the 10% of distribution companies to generate electricity. They have to generate electricity independently, through renewable sources. So these are some of the initiative by the Electricity Act of 2023, which also is giving a whole new life to the disco in Nigeria. So these are some of the initiative, but I think this is work in progress. Already, most of the discos have started. And I believe sooner or later we will see changes. And as you can also see, we have, let me bring this to our attention too. We also have state electricity regulatory bodies. We have in Ekiti. We also have in Enugu. They have taken up. So these are state regulatory, that also fix prices and also carry out some certain regulations within their state or area of jurisdiction. So, before now, it's solely by Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. But for those of us, especially in the north, those ones in the north, I think where it's been hit most by the issues of power outages of recently, we are yet to have a state that has come forth to say, okay, I want to create an independent, an electricity regulatory for my states. No one yet. But I think for East, we have almost 4, and then Southwest and so on, states are already taking up this. So these are initiatives and these are work in progress. Abrazak, let's have your say and then let's see if we can move further. Abrazak. Is Abrazak?
Yes.
Yes,
can
go on,
you hear
please.
me? Everyone, can you hear me? Yes. Regarding
yes, go on. I can hear
issue
you.
of the infrastructure. Yeah, well, as we all know, we are all talking about how we are going to how ready we are as a nation to embrace the nuclear energy. As you all know, nuclear energy represents like the other source of energy, like a small amount of
You're
the whole process can give us a vast amount of energy. You understand? So embracing the nuclear energy as a nation, if we are ready, I think there should be a total overhaul of all our infrastructure, because the current infrastructure cannot take the webinar. I think more of that, and we'll also uh, talk about the nuclear waste, which will be a topic on its own, because how ready we are is one, then two, how to do. So while we talk about while we discuss this topic now, I think we should also put it into consideration that yes, as a nation, are we really ready? Do we have the infrastructure to, or do we have the sources, the money, all it takes to embrace this energy? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that contribution, Abdrazak. You're still raising your hand, so you can you can drop that now. Thank you. Okay, does anyone has anything to say on this before we get to the nuclear? And I think after this, we also have just in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll be rounding up. Any on this? All right. So what is nuclear energy? Globally, nuclear energy contributes approximately to 10% of the world's electricity. Now you can see this is authoritatively from the IAEA. So you can see that other nations have already started using this, and not just developed nation, even emerging economies like South Africa, India. These are countries. You see this in the slide. What are we waiting for? Are we ready for this? As Abdulrazak has said, this energy is harnessed, through, heat water, producing steam that drives the turbine and also generate electricity. So these are processes, that has to do with some scientific or some nuclear fusion. So, but other countries are doing it. Are we ready? What are we waiting for? Have we also taken the challenge of, using the renewable energy sources we have? We have abundant source of electricity. So I think it's high time we start looking at this nuclear energy. Let's go to the next slide so that we also look at some of those issues we're going to discuss. Now, what are the benefits of this nuclear energy and why nuclear energy? Now, if you're attending this webinar, you stand a chance if you register of receiving this slide. I'll share this slide and then you can have it so that probably you can go through if you need to get one or two things in terms you want to write on this. Now, the benefits of nuclear energy to Nigeria as a nation is one. It's going to provide us a reliable and consistent electricity. What that means is light never goes off. 24/7 you have light. Your hospitals, your churches, your industries, your small and medium businesses, and so on are going to have electricity. Isn't that cool? Yes, it is. So this is what we need right now. We don't need the light to start going up just as it's a disco dancer. Today you see you have you are not sure. The whole country can just go, can have a blackout. Why? Because of the grid. We are not generating enough. Our network is not good enough to transmit. Some of us, even if you have the electricity within your area, your distribution transformer cannot accommodate all the households, all the commercial activities that you have in that place. It has to be load shaded. So a lot needs to be done. Then what's again now to the environment also? I'm an environmentalist anyway. There will be low carbon footprints. Unlike the fossil fuel where you have to generate a lot of greenhouse gases that will, disrupt, lead to global warming, and so on. So, but this, you don't have all those carbon footprints and also greenhouse gases and other issues. And then you have high energy density. A small amount of nuclear fuel produces significant electricity. So unlike the other one, the hydro and so on, you just have a small one, and then voila, it gives you adequate electricity that you may need for your activities. And then the plants have a longer lifespan compared to others, 40 years plus, and then it will give you years and years, tens of years, 20s of years electricity without disruption. And honestly, for a country like France and the United States and Germany, these countries have gone far. And for South Africa to get 10% of its energy from nuclear, that also something is happening. Nigeria needs to learn from this. So let's look at the global adoption of nuclear energy from around the world. I've been saying this time without number. Countries like the US, France, and China, they lead in this. Remember, I told you 10% of the global energy come from renewable energy. So that is it. So if these countries are doing it, what stops us? What stops us from doing it? Imagine economies such as South Africa and India, have successfully integrated nuclear energy to address, the issues of electricity or power deficits that we have, especially in Nigeria. If we can start looking at this way and look at how is South Africa going, which I believe is a closer neighbor to us than India and other one, also an emerging economy, an African country as well, then I think we'll get started and it will be a good thing for us to do. So I think it's high time, other stakeholders, governments, industry leaders come together and start looking at a way we can start adopting the nuclear, so that we can also get something better from it. Then the next one is, it will give you global collaboration. And this is just what I've been saying, learning from other people. And then we look at where are we having challenges and how do we come to resolve those challenges? What do we need to do, in terms of this? So these are some of those things. So it's not late for Nigeria to adopt this nuclear energy as a source of power. Please feel free to comment if you have anything on this. Let's have your say so that we can go ahead. So I know when we say nuclear power, a lot of us will start thinking, what is the problem? There is a problem, there is this. People will start thinking of what happened in Fukushima, the Chernobyl, and other issues, and so on and so forth. Now, I don't think this will stop us. Modern nuclear plants are designed in such a way that have a maximum and also multiple safety systems that prevents accidents. And you believe me that issues that happen in Fukushima, for those of us who are familiar with what happened then, have led to, stricter regulation globally, and it has also led to designing a more safe, a multiple safety system that will prevent, the occurrence of what has happened. Now, Abdulrazak said something earlier about the waste and so on, how this can be managed. I think this will be discussed in subsequent webinar by the Nuclear Aware Africa. But basically, there are stricter and there are better and multiple safety systems that have put in place, that were put in place or that are in place right now, to prevent what has happened in Chernobyl and also in Fukushima. And honestly, a lot of nations are already using this and they are learning from this. It's a work in progress. You can remember I said 10% of the world's total power is being generated through nuclear. So I see no reason, we have to debunk all those myths, and misconception and also issues that has to do with safety, because people are already using this. So I don't think if they say we have issues that has to do with Fukushima, then we have to just leave and then say we are. No, we should. People are using it already. Our neighbors South Africa are using it. So, and this is my take on this. Let's have the next slide before we have one or two comments from our chat box, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can.
can.
Go ahead.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I think I just sent. I have remodeled this. I would have loved everybody to see this very well. These are some of the challenges that we have. I have other slide than this, but anyway, we can take this. So let's look at some of the challenges to adopting nuclear power in Nigeria. What are the hurdles, to our parts? Let's do this quickly. Excuse me, sorry. All right. Some of the challenges that we have to adopt solar system, nuclear power energy in Nigeria. One is the technical challenges, just as have stated by one of the earlier speaker here. We have a lot of technical challenges. First, there are limited expertise and also technology transfers. Then secondly, we have aging and inadequate grid infrastructure. So to get started, first we have to find solutions to these issues that we have. We need to get people, we need to train people, we need to get people to go and learn from countries who have already succeeded in this. Hello, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, all right, fantastic. So we need to get, we need to train people. We need to train people. Okay, thank you so much. People need to go and learn. They need to go to other countries like France, countries like South Africa, countries like China to learn transfer of technology and to understand what are those things. Then, secondly, we need to start investing in our grid infrastructure. Yes, we need to. Those aging infrastructures that we have, those olden days distribution transformers that we have across our transmission stations, we need to start thinking of bringing modern ones. We need to invest. The governments and other stakeholders need to invest. Then the other issues also is financial constraint. Now, this is a highly capital investment, but then it's a long payback period. So if you have to do this, a lot of money needs to go in. The one thing I fear here is the level of corruption. So how do we go about this? This is a point that all of us need to contribute. If we have tackled the first issues, technical challenges, we took people, they go out there to learn. In fact, from the selection of the people, some people bring their cousins who doesn't know anything about it. They say you have to go to China, you go and learn. These are where the problem is. Corruption, number one. They don't have the expertise, they don't have the experience. So how do we kick this? Then if you come to the inadequate information, if you come to the funding, how are we sure that the money we're going to invest, people are not going to embezzle it, just as the Mambila and other power issues that we have, the other power electricity schemes that we have, or the issues that are going on presently in the transmission and so on. So these are some of those issues that we have. Then limited access to international finances. This still has to do with finance. Now, also another problem that we're going to face is regulatory policy gaps. We need to, look at our regulatory framework and the bureaucracy in terms of delays, right? So if we don't get these things right, there will be problem. Then there must be a clear, another problem will be lack of clear public-private collaboration. This has been one of the main issues. By now, with the privatization of the electricity distribution companies and also the generation company, remember, the transmission company is solely owned by the government to this moment. In the electricity distribution companies, the government owns 40%, while the private owners have 60%. But even with this collaboration, what is going on in the discourse? If you are to comment on what is happening in your own area in terms of power distribution, what is happening? Is it better than when it was PHC and ONEPA, for those of us who have lived up to that moment? So these are some of those issues that you have. Then the next one is public perception and resistance. A lot of people have heard the stories of Fukushima. I will advise you read about Fukushima, issues and Chernobyl. You get to learn about this. So fear of environmental accidents. So a lot of pushback will come from people. People will start resisting. But then what do we need to do? There are solutions to all these problems. Limited awareness of nuclear energy benefits. People don't know the benefits that we have. A lot of us have never heard about nuclear energy until this moment, probably. And that is why we need webinar like this, so that people can come and learn and hear and go out there and explain to people and tell them, this is what we have. Right? So I think we're running almost out of time. So the next is security concerns, risks of sabotage, vandalism, and proliferation. So these are some of those issues that we have. A lot of issues. This is Nigeria for you. So the risk of people going to sabotage, just like we have with the towers and other things, vandalism, people going to, vandalize the towers, go away with the aluminum conductors. These are issues these are some of the major challenges. But then what are the solutions? Right? Hello, are we together?
Yes,
hello.
Hello. Yes, we are. Yes,
thank you so much.
We are together.
Yeah, we are good.
All right. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide. All right. So what are the solutions? Here we provided an actionable solutions to all these issues that we have, outlined. First is to build technical capacity. We need to get people. We need to train people. Let them understand. Let them go and learn from other successful countries. Second is international training programs and partnership. We must partner with countries that have succeeded, countries like United States of America, France, countries like China, even South Africa. We need to learn from them. We need secure finances. We need to get finance from the IMF, from other people that are ready. We need to get people involved. Then most importantly, public-private partnership. We need to also engage the public. People need to understand this is what it stands. We need to look at our regulation. Are we together? So we need to look at, we also need to enhance our security, the security we give around our social infrastructure. There must be collaboration between, communities and law enforcement agencies. We need to bring in modern equipment that will help in, surveillance and also emergency responses, SCADA systems, and so on. We need to launch awareness and campaigns that will build trust, mutual understanding, and buy-in of the people. So I believe these are some of the solutions that we have, and this is the roadmap, to achieving, a nuclear powered Nigeria. And I believe with this, Nigeria will go a long way. To crown this up, Nigeria in a serious state of needing other sources of energy from the national grid. We need a decentralized source of energy. And I believe apart from the renewable energy, other source of energy Another more reliable source of energy is the nuclear power. So this is the end of our presentation. So if you have one or two questions or comments, let's have your say before we wrap it up. Thank you so much. Yes, Mohammed Tijani, go ahead, please.
Good evening once again. That's a very, very nice presentation, and thank you for such a wonderful presentation regarding nuclear energy. And yeah, I believe nuclear energy is going to be the future of every developing country because of its energy density and how vast and how its efficiency is when it comes to energy. However, my concern is this, which is, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please, Tijani.
Okay, my concern is the capacity of the Nigerian Naira itself. Because we understand that the entire project cannot go on without two things, which is public-private partnership and also foreign investment. Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, after the entire investment, setting up a nuclear plant, how much will the cost of energy end up being from the user at the end of the day? Yeah. And how long are you looking at the return on investment? Because as a public-private partnership, the first thing that they're going to look at is how long would it take them to recover whatever they have invested? That's the first one. And secondly, from the user, from the end user, just like we are saying now, we are taking power at 225 naira, yeah, per standard per kilowatt hour. Yeah. So at the end of the day, after generating using nuclear, after getting this reliable power, how much is it going to cost the common man to buy energy from these nuclear power plants? That is the first. And secondly, yeah, I think that is the major concern for now.
Yeah.
And thank you. The second one is the reliability of the, how do you call this, flow chain of the energy source itself, which is the uranium or whatever, whichever one we are using. What is the reliability of the source itself, and how is the currency? Because when we are talking about this, then we are looking at purchasing in dollar.
Yeah.
We all know that dollar is like 1,800 naira now. So at what rate are we going to purchase this particular energy, however it is being measured, if it is per BTU or whatever?
All right. This is a very good question. First, how much are we going to sell, return on investment? Now, if you listen to me earlier, I said, looking at what we have right now, how do we price the electricity presently? One, is exchange rate, price of crude oil in the international market, transportation of the gas, and other indices, right? Now, these are some of those costs that you incur.
Yeah, the factors.
Generation. Yes, right. So, but when you are generating through uranium, for now, we cannot exactly tell you, okay, this is how much it costs. But you have cut off almost half of these costs. Now you are left with what's the major source of the energy, which is uranium and other factors. Now, where this comes, where the issue we are going to have right now is setting up the plant itself. But in terms of the pricing of the electricity, I believe it's going to be cheaper, and a very small amount of, you don't need a very gigantic plant like other ones from what we have seen, to generate electricity. And as we know, the nuclear energy is something way far more reliable than this, as we have seen in countries like China and France. As we speak to you now, France, 70% source of energy in France is nuclear. 10% in South Africa is the nuclear. So these are some of those things that we're looking. So it's a work in progress, and it's something that you and I have to explore and then look at it. What are the costs that will be?
Yeah, I understand. But what can you say about other countries like Germany that are actually decommissioning their own nuclear power plants?
Yeah, why are they decommissioning? This is the question that I should ask.
They have actually they have more than energy.
More than enough. Yes. So that is it. You gave an answer. You gave us a smart answer. So that is it. All right. Let's take from Muhammad Nazir. I can see he's been raising his hand for a while. Yes, Nazir, please. Let's have your say, sir.
Well done, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good
Actually,
evening,
sir,
Nazir.
the presenter has got justice to the topic itself. And as for me, to my own side, is nothing but a suggestion based on these nuclear power plants that we are busy discussing and presenting the impacts and the also its importance to this our great nation. But sir, when we look at the renewable energy, we have a lot of versatile renewable energy resources here in Nigeria, ranging from the sun, that is the ultimate source of energy, and also coming down to the wind and the also there are many more like ocean tidal energy and other and many more. So there are less.
Go on. Hello, Nazir. Can anybody hear him?
And
I think
they are
Nazir
very
has
less.
mute for the moment.
Yes, he's breaking.
Hazard nuclear energy we are talking about, and as of yes, sir. Sir, I say when it comes to the nuclear and this solar energy, ocean tidal and other and many more that we have here in Nigeria, most especially I emphasize in this solar as the ultimate source of energy. We have a versatile, we have an abundant, in excess here in Nigeria, and we are not utilizing we are not making proper utilization of this energy that we have regarding this place of using this, bringing this issue of nuclear energy. What can you say about this and other source of renewable energies we have? That is my own question, and the also suggestion, if we can maybe at least before going to moving to the nuclear energy, maybe we can at least refer back to these ones that we have here in common and in excess. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nazir. I think that's a very good observation that you make.
Before you answer that, I think that would be the last question we'll take because of the time. So please, Doctor, go ahead. Let's answer this. Then we round up.
No, Abdurazak, we can give one. We can give them one. If anybody has any question, we can just give them one. One slot. If anyone has questions, we can just take one and then let them go. So thank you very much, Muhammad Nazir. Your observation is right, and honestly, I bought what you said. But also, if you have abundance, we have the renewable energy, especially in the north. You have abundance of solar. Solar, sun energy. You have wind, and you also have the dams. Across the country and across Africa and so on. We should be relying more on this. But then you have to also look at other sources. You have to try other sources. And thank God, as I said earlier, already KEDCO, Kano Electricity Distribution Company, in a special circular they send out through newspapers and other media, they are collaborating with the state governments, to power up the state through renewable energy. They are investing 100 million naira. And this involves the solar and also the hydro, that is Tigadam, to do all this. So we are not overlooking that, but we are also bringing the attention of stakeholders in the electricity or in the energy sector to also know that apart from the renewable energy, the nuclear energy is also there. So in case you feel you are, you want to diversify also, now we're all trying to diversify. We can also look at the renewable energy. So thank you. It's a very good observation. And I think we have a lot to explore in terms of the renewable energy. Thank you very much, Nazir, and thank you, Mohammed Tijani. So does anyone have a say so that we can wrap this up? Already I see Abdurazak from Nuclear Aware Africa is raising his hand. He's telling us of, trying to keep it.
I think the only thing I have is a response to Mohammed Nazir.
Okay, fantastic.
And that includes efficiency. That's one word to put it when we are talking about renewable. Most of the countries that are highly adopting renewable energy, you will find out that they already have enough energy. What they're using renewable is to subsidize the already existing energy that they're using. That's the first one. Secondly, the cost of generating or the cost of utilizing this renewable energy, if you're going to compare it with other sources of energy, you'll find out that it's actually quite expensive.
Very expensive.
It's restrictiveness. If you are to generate 100 megawatts using solar energy, you can only use that 100 megawatts during the daytime. And you cannot utilize the entire generation of that, or let me say the entire generating capacity of that 100 megawatts. You might be able to install 100 megawatts as the installation capacity, but at the end of the day, you might, on a good day, you can only utilize 70% of it. And that's one of the major challenges of any renewable energy. So most of the countries that are going into renewable are only using it to subsidize the already existing energy that they have. But once you start talking about large capacity generation, nuclear energy, solar energy is a thing of the future. But for developing countries like Nigeria, the problem that we are facing is much more bigger than renewable energy. Even though with the world all going into, we have to go into renewable, it's a solution for the developed countries, not for the developing countries. I think that's all I have to say for it.
Thank you so much for that insight, Tijani. I think you've also done justice to that question as well. So thank you, everyone. I think we have a very wonderful session here, and thank you for taking your time to attend. My name is Dr. Abubakar Ibrahim. I'm the founder of NPower Consult Africa, one of the emerging electricity or power company that is into consultancy. We organize a quarterly webinar where we discuss about issues that have to do with power sectors. We mentor people. Last webinar we had was webinar NPower 2.0, where we have the Deputy Managing Director of Kaduna Electric, Mohammed Sadiq, and also the Head of Corporate Affairs of Azura to discuss some certain issues that have to do with the power sectors. We provide a platform where you can network with people within and outside the industry across the world all over. And it was our second webinar and was very successful. So feel free, you can reach out to me or to the NPower Consults through our email. I just typed the email here. You can see npower.africa@gmail.com. So you can just send me an email and then we'll add you to our subscription list. And you can get, when we have webinars like this and also have other opportunities within the sector, we'll send you links and other vital information that will help you, get to where you want. And Nuclear Aware Africa, thank you so much for providing this platform for us to discuss. I believe this will be a collaboration that will go on with NPower. We look forward to doing more of this. We have to reach at NPower, and also we have other people who also assist to make sure that we educate our people across Africa and the world entirely. It's a very good opportunity, and thank you everyone, most especially for listening. Tijani Mohammed Nazir, Patrick Paul, Sani, and every other person, Yunus Abdullahi, Njoko Chikodi, and every other person, thank you so much for attending. And from me here, it's thank you and have a nice day. Let me hand you over to Abdurazak from Nuclear Aware Africa. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I think as we draw a close to webinar series, on behalf of Nuclear Aware Africa, I thank you all for your active participation, and also a special thanks to our partners, the Sustainability Pathway for Africa and Empower Africa, Consult Africa, for their support in making this event possible today. So also this webinar have been recorded, so we'll share the webinar recording on all our social media platforms. So you can feel free to go on our socials and watch the webinar series all over again. Also, our next webinar, I'm going to give us a snippet of what you're to expect. So since we're discussing about how, sorry, excuse me, since we're discussing about how ready we are to embrace the nuclear energy, we have to touch all part of the aspect of nuclear energy. This aspect include the waste management, the infrastructure. I think Doctor has done justice to some part of the infrastructure today. So I thank you all once again for attending this webinar. So thank you all. Thank you, and have a good day ahead. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers, everybody.